Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of the Dark Pictures Man of Medan. I played it on the Xbox One, it's also available on the PC and PS4. So let's start with the story, and I gotta say the prologue is horrible for this game. Once you get past that though, the game gets way better, and it was a huge improvement. Prologue happens in World War II, I won't get too into it, but some weird shit goes down. But the real meat of the game, you are playing as Alex, Julia, Brad, Fliss, and Conrad. Group of 20-somethings, one owns a boat, the rest are all going diving, they find this old World War II ship, then they piss off some people who aren't such nice people, said nice people abduct them, they all wind up on a spooky ship. And that's where the game really gets good. Like I said, the prologue was pretty horrible. I think it could have been better, and I'll get into why it failed in a moment. And that moment starts with the audio, because holy shit, the voiceover work in the prologue is so fucking bad. It is some seriously discount shit, and it really takes away from the gravity of the prologue to the point where I quit playing after the prologue for a day because it was just awful. Once you get out of the prologue though, the voiceover work takes a huge turn in the right direction. It becomes far better. The sound effects, the music, all of that though is very well done. It's the voiceover work that is insufferable in the prologue and then becomes far better with the new other characters that come about in the main core of the game. It helps that Supermassive Games did what they normally do, which is bring in real actors to portray the main characters, not unlike they did with Until Dawn. So overall, the audio works once you get past the prologue. I wish they just hadn't even bothered with that part. Or since they did bother making it, maybe they could have bothered to get some decent voice actors. Now onto the gameplay mechanics. This is very much an interactive narrative style game, so you are kind of trapped in certain fixed camera angles for the most part, and you explore, but it's a lot of QTEs. Like most interactive narratives, a lot of it is a bit of wandering about. There's not like hardcore action like you'd find in a third-person or first-person shooter. It's when the action goes down, it's button prompts. And there were a few of those that I didn't feel worked as well as they could have. There's specifically the heartbeat one. There were times where I didn't feel like I fucked it up, but the game definitely told me I fucked it up, and that may be a controls issue, but it's more of a gameplay thing where that mechanic I just felt like didn't work. Or maybe it was the fact that they just ramped up the difficulty of that one thing a little too quickly. I wasn't prepared for it maybe, but either way, I didn't really like that mechanic. I did like when you got to explore around and find clues, find out what's going on, all sorts of interesting things like that. They put a good amount of work into those details, and that was impressive to me. It's not a completely linear story, and you can change things. It is one of those branching experiences. I personally wasn't really happy with the ending I got the first time, so I am going back and replaying it. I have plenty of time because it is actually a really short game, which is not entirely a complaint. It's a bit shorter than I'd like, but there is a lot of replay value because you can really change a lot with the branching narrative. Okay, so as for the controls, it's not like a super action-oriented game like I said before, but when there is action, it's QTEs, and you need those to be super responsive. And for the most part, I felt like they were. Like I said though, with the heartbeat one, I didn't feel like that one worked as well as I would have liked it to. But, like I also said, I'm not sure if it was really a mechanics issue or a control issue. I just ran into some problems with it a couple times. As for the moving around when you're exploring, there were a couple of times where I felt like I had to wiggle the stick a bit too much to get my character to go in the right direction. I felt like I was pushing in the right direction based on the camera angle, and my character just wasn't going in that direction. But that only happened a couple times. For the most part, I think it worked very well. Lastly, the visuals. I want to love this game a little bit more, but it didn't look quite as good as I would like it to. It's not a terrible looking game, but it could do with a little bit more detail. There were a few places in the world that looked like they were just lacking texture. The character's skin and whatnot at times definitely lacked texture. There were some times where it just didn't look as good as it could have. I quite frankly don't feel like it looked as good as some of their previous games. One thing I will say, and it's not something I would normally address because, well, it's not normal, but with all the fixed camera moments, there's some really cool directing in this game. That's the best way I can phrase it. I really liked some of the camera angle choices because they really added to the elements of horror in this game, and they led to some good spooky moments and built tension using the camera angle. That doesn't work with every game, but it's something you can definitely do with an interactive narrative, and it's very important, and I think they did a good job with it. One thing I'm going to throw in right here at the end is that during the opening credits cutscene, two things. Horrible stuttering for some reason. I don't know why. It was horrible. Just horrible. But not only that, it has this horrible, like, power ballad, hard rock kind of song going on that just kind of cheapens the feel of the opening credits. It just didn't fit in with the rest of the game, and it's something that it could have lived without. But it also doesn't ruin the game by any stretch. It's just something I wanted to point out. Overall, I enjoyed the Man of Medan. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It might be Man of Medan. I don't know, and I don't care. Overall, I did like it. I do wish it was a little cheaper. Given the length of the experience, $30 is kind of pricey, but not only that, with how discount the prologue was, if this game was $25, I would definitely say yes. At $30, I say wait till it's down about $5. Or if you just truly love interactive narratives, $30 is not a bad price. So overall, I would recommend it. Okay, so in the comments below, why don't you tell me if you ever played Until Dawn? I personally enjoyed it. I replayed it a second time. I used a walkthrough because I wanted everyone to survive. And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share, subscribe. Have a good one.